Hello, so this is a guide on practicing with honor and integrity. The world is changing so fast, so the goal is to differentiate between laws, policies, and regulations governing the delivery of clinical services and defining scope of practice for providers. Then and now, Community Mental Health Act of 1963 brought mental health to the forefront. The High Consent Decree altered care in Maine. Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act force insurance companies to cover reimbursement for these services. This legislation prevents discrimination based on diagnosis. Today, telehealth is the trend while considering confidentiality, licensing, and reimbursement. Verging upon the provider. Highly regulated with state licensure, code of ethics, sometimes providers have multiple codes, and accreditation of continuing education. 1. Policies outline what governing bodies hope to achieve, directing through methods and principles. 2. Laws or rules written through legislation, federal, state, and local. 3. Regulations are the standards to carry out policies and laws. An issue today is portability of reciprocity of licenses. Today, licensed providers in one state must seek licensure in every state they want to practice. Very few states allow for reciprocity. Therefore, if you live in one state but work in another, you need to decide where you will seek your licensure. Why is this a problem? So cost, being licensed in more than one state will cost hundreds. Telehealth, you have to be licensed in the state you are videoing from and the state the client is in. 3. Inconsistent rules to be aware of. 4. Must consider the licensing rules before selecting a graduate school. Medicare. What is Medicare? It is a federal program that funds state Medicaid, and it is for citizens retired at the age given and disabled individuals. Currently, 2019. To be able to bill Medicaid, you must have advanced licenses, so MDs, PhDs, psych nurse, advanced nursing, and LCSWs. Where the service is delivered is a factor. Advocacy, supporting a cause or support of a person, group, or policy through a broad range of activities, from research to lobbying. We have rules, regulations, laws, etc. There are many occasions where providers have violated the basic rights of others, exploited, taken advantage of, and so on. How are you going to honor the people you work with and their support system? Community inclusion is one way to ensure the focus is on the person in their environment. So community inclusion has 8 domains: housing, employment, education, meaningful roles and relationships such as marriage, parenting, and friendship, religion and spirituality, recreation, civic life, and health. Community building. Case managers have a responsibility to assist and encourage community connections as part of community inclusion and community integration. In addition, broadening an individual's world broadens the possibilities for natural supports. So, discussion points. How do you feel about your role as a community builder? What are your concerns about your abilities to bridge the gaps that often separate people from others in the community? What ideas do you have for acting as a bridge for the people you assist? So how do I feel about my role as a community builder? I feel pretty good about it. I like that idea. What are your concerns about your abilities to bridge the gaps that often separate people from others in the community? My only concern is not knowing certain communities better. So like if I have a client who's a deaf, for example, not knowing much about where I could get in contact with the deaf community and help them with that, or not being spiritual myself, connecting them with spiritual connections. So, what ideas do you have for acting as a bridge for people you assist? I know about a lot of different communities, but getting more involved in other communities myself and help the client get connected to what is appropriate for that client. Domain housing. People with mental illness should be able to access decent, affordable housing and should, if they desire, be able to live independently in their homes that aren't geographically isolated and or segregated by disability. Domain employment. Individuals who want to work should have full or part-time jobs that are meaningful and pay fairly. Domain education. Individuals with mental illness who want to start or return to educational programs should be able to earn high school GEDs, 2 or 4-year college degrees, trade school certificate, and or other types of professional or vocational trainings. Domain meaningful roles and responsibility. Individuals with mental illness should have opportunities to establish meaningful reciprocal connections with friends, family members, and community members who are not paid staff. Domain religion and spirituality. Individuals who are interested in connecting with a faith community should be able to find meaning in religious beliefs and participate in religious worship services, religious studies, and or spiritual groups. Domain recreation. The community inclusion goal for recreation is twofold. Individuals with mental illness are able to participate in community activities that align with their strengths, passions, and interests, and connect them with people with similar interests, and individuals are encouraged to use their bodies and move. Domain civic life. Individuals with mental illness who want to be able to contribute to and or help share their communities through acts of small and large. Domain health. Individuals are connected to health and dental providers and receive information and education about how to take care of themselves, improve their physical health, and manage specific behavioral and or physical health conditions. Resource development. Case managers have resource linkage and development as a function of the job. What is at our fingertips? What is offered locally through the state and federal government? So that's it for this slide. It's kind of just a guideline of things to think about in different domains that have to do with mental health.